one of the greatest shows on TV right now, in my opinion. I'm sure we'll find out TJ's opinion in a second. Is for me The Last of Us right now. Again, I think we've been having a phenomenal January, and I count that on TV as well because this show has been fantastic so far. I put up my quick thoughts right after I watched the episode the other night on the channel, so I will kick it over to TJ. What did you think of episode 2 of The Last of Us?
I thought it was another home run. Neil Druckmann directing this episode. I thought I saw something that was like it's the first person to direct like probably
their
like
own
a game
adaptation, I think.
Yeah, or something like that. And he nailed it, unshockingly. Everybody was great. I thought Tess was really the standout for this episode for me. And again, it was kind of a surprise to me because I don't remember very much about the first game. So to see like what happens, I was like, oh, okay, it was gross. That was gross, that part. At the end.
Yeah.
But, that's kind of like the point. It's supposed to make you uneasy. I thought they did a really good job in the beginning.
Warning.
Really showing like what's happening all across the world.
Whoa, what just happened? Hang on. I think we're like frozen out. I just tried to hit the spoiler alert graphic and we just died.
Or I just heard Daniel say, "What the heck?" Oh, it says warning. What happened?
I was trying to hit the spoiler warning, and then it crashed Streamlabs for a second. Are we still up? I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Sorry about that, Danielle. Hopefully everybody's okay in the seats at home.
Although your camera might be frozen. It looks like.
I think I reset it, so it might just take a minute to catch up. But I was definitely frozen.
As I was saying.
So for spoilers.
Very loud. Sorry. I think she was talking about the warning thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, what I was saying. The beginning, I thought they did a really good job setting up, different part of the world, and we're seeing what's happening, and immediately they want to like bomb everything, which I thought was crazy, but again, makes sense. I thought that was great. Seeing Ellie and Joel and Tess all kind of, start to, warm up to each other a little bit and bond. Yeah. Unfortunately, obviously a little short. But I thought that was really cool. Man, shout out the art department and props,
like set design,
that makeup, set design, that all looked fantastic.
Yeah.
That clicker was terrifying, or all of them were. And I did watch like the post episode thing.
Yeah.
And I agreed. Like I thought they absolutely nailed the movement.
I liked
looks exactly like it did.
That it was like fans that came in. It was like reminded me of like the 501st.
Right, and I was thinking too, because it's probably because in the game it's like you're animating it, so it's like you can kind of make it do whatever you want. Yeah. Maybe human bodies don't like move that way. So I thought like those extras, fans, and everybody that came in did an awesome job. Yeah. And I'm excited to see what other maybe kind of variants they have. Again, like I said, like I don't know how they're gonna. If they have the big one, that his whole thing I thought was like he shoots like spores, but we're not doing spores in the show. So maybe he does, maybe that kind of variant.
What if it's kind of like think like Ben 10, like the swamp guy that like, what if he like shoots out the mycelium like strands or something instead?
Yeah, and I thought that
seems
was really
to
cool
have replaced
how they explained like instead of doing the spores, how they're all kind of connected. Like if you step on this thing, like
that was very cool. I like that. And then they set that up, like I said in my mini review the other day, like the setup payoff. Like this episode could very easily be, and I think still fairly, if people want to say that, like that this was just an exposition episode. Fair enough, there's a lot of exposition in it. I personally think it's one of the best exposition episodes I've ever seen, because you get this exposition of like, okay, yeah, this is what happens. Tess says, you step on one of them's hand over here, 20 blocks away, you could have unleashed a horde, and then they come, and then you're dead. And then to have that explained, but then not just like at some point in the future of the season, but that episode pay that off directly. And the fact that it wasn't Ellie, who caused any of this. It was, in self-defense, but it was Joel firing like that gun, woke everything up. I just loved, it was so much dissemination of information for an audience that might not know things about this universe, and I think that it did it in like the most flawless way possible for a show like this to handle it, to be honest. Let's see here. Yeah, so just like we said, we're gonna go full spoilers into this thing. How's it living up for you, like versus the game? Joel and Ellie's dynamics, everything like that, with how we're progressing here. Are you excited for what is it, Bill and Frank?
Yeah, again, I don't remember much about them. That's the thing. I'm excited to see Nick Offerman. I'm excited to see what they do. And everybody I've heard or I've seen that have seen, I think 1 through 4 episodes, say that episode 3 is like really the standout. Yeah. So maybe they go in a different direction, which would be interesting. But yeah, like you said, seeing that relationship develop, it's funny too, because as I was watching Sunday night, I kept waiting for them to cut to somebody else, like some other character. And I'm like, well, there's nobody really we're not really focused on anybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is, it's one of those like kind of video game things where it's like, we're really only focused on who you're playing as. Like, you're not, we're not like, oh, let's see what everybody else, like the Fireflies, are doing or anything. Like back at
like what's
QZ.
Going on with Marlene? Like where are we at with that?
Yeah.
Like
it's like we don't really care. We'll get there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it really is. It's not like we don't care. It's not important. It's like what you said. We don't care. We'll get back to it because eventually it will circle back. I don't know this. I'm just guessing. I'm like, you don't just set a character like Marlene up and then you just never see her again. Like, so clearly something's going to have to come back. Tommy is still going to have to reappear. We have yet to see Tommy. Yep. I'm assuming he's alive because they cast Gabriel Luna for the entire show. So, I'm assuming he's okay. But he is out of radio contact with his brother, which is interesting to see how that kind of plays out. But I really, really felt for the first time this week kind of like a look to the future of how good this dynamic between Joel and Ellie, but really Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal is going to be. I don't know if you saw on online anywhere, they released that like they like interviewed each other on like set one day for like one of the press tours, and they're just like dynamite together. Like, so I am just so excited to kind of see where all of this goes and where it kind of can go in the future. I wonder if you had the same feeling? I was like, this show is so good. Wow, what a satisfying episode. When they made it up to the roof of like the thing. And then there was like 15 more minutes and I was like, oh my god, like I was like losing my mind.
I thought it was gonna end maybe like when they were walking up to the museum.
Yeah, because that's like the traditional shot where they're like the camera's panning up and they're just walking like almost off into the horizon. And then there's just like 15 more minutes of the episode and those 15 minutes are fucking insanity. But like how did you feel about the whole close of the episode and like we've been kind of beating around the bush with Tess dying, which I had no idea. I was like, she's probably, honestly, the first half of this episode, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, it's got to get down to these two eventually. So Tess, maybe she's like the mid-season, maybe she'll, like die. She dies right in this freaking episode. But how did you kind of like the way that they handled that?
I thought it was good. I thought, she kind of has this idea. Finally, Joel gets it through his head that, like, Ellie is immune. So we have a chance. It's, something that can be, we can save people, we can save this life, we can save the the planet, whatever. And I thought that was really cool on her realizing that, her getting him to go without her, and then her sacrificing herself, obviously. And I thought it was all really well done. I could see, I've seen some people say like maybe the one thing that really bothered them was that like kind of weird like kiss type thing that happened.
Yeah.
That was kind of off-putting. I can see that.
Do you ever see The Mask?
It was just The Mask, yeah.
Like with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Somebody posted a tweet and was like, "The Last of Us" out of context, and it was at the end of that movie, the villain, when the villain has the mask on, and he's like this big meathead, and he's like, "There's always time for one last kiss." Like it's got this weird, it's like that gif, and I was like, "Oh my god, that was it was a little weird," but I think the idea is just that like that's just kind of the optimal way to do it, I guess. If you're trying to spread it directly into another person,
it really is gross too. Because when I see that, like when I see it in the show, because in the game it's always they're just biting people. You know, they're not doing any of that
it's
stuff.
not none of this like slow like interesting.
And it's
shit.
really kind of like seeing like those like in the beginning when she pulled the strands like out of the dead person's mouth,
and then they started moving.
It really to me was more alien like. And like fungus, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really like this is almost something from outer space than some sort of fungus that is just in everyday life. But yeah, I didn't really bother me that much, but I was like, that's gross.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think it's definitely gross. I think it's gross on purpose, but I think it's what is going on here? I got my camera's broken again. Let me see 1 second. There we go. Okay. I don't know why that's doing that. I got to look at the screen more often, I guess. Yeah, I really think that it stuck the landing, and I like the way that it looked. I think it's gross to be purposely gross. But yeah, I just think I'm just so excited to see where it's going to go from here. The fact that now we're basically at what, my interpretation or what a lot of people's interpretation of this is, which is these two people trying to make it across this, apocalyptic wilderness, basically. And that's basically where we are finally, we have finally now completed the traditional, first act, basically, of the show. Now we're going into what this is actually going to be. Which is mainly these two characters. But yeah, I really liked it. Like you said, I think that Neil Druckmann did a fantastic job. I saw a bunch of people doing the, he can't miss, like, with Neil Druckmann, which I thought was funny. Some people, some people not think about the second game is good? Or?
Oh my God. Ugh.
What?
People
hate the second game?
There's people that vehemently hate that game, yeah.
Wow. Do you?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
No. I think if you're telling me a story, I respect whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
But there are people that vehemently hate that game.
Like like story wise, you mean though?
Story wise, yes.
Yeah, and I feel like that's tough. Like you were saying, it's a story first and foremost, which is kind of what they set out to do with these games. So. It'll be interesting to see where all this goes, though. But they have sworn up and down that this show on HBOMax at least, is strictly about the first game, in development and story structure wise. And then they've said, if anything else were to happen in the future, that's great. But right now, like our goal and focus is to bring to life this first game. But they are definitely eventually going to do the second. Like, there's no way. This show already, it's built, I think it went up 20% in viewership in its second week, which is like insanity that it went up almost a fifth just in the second week alone. It's already been a huge success. I mean, we talked about the numbers of the premiere and everything, which is fantastic, but we are definitely not going to be saying goodbye to the show anytime soon. But yeah, I think we both thought that it was a very, very strong entry. Excited to see where things are going to be going from here. But TJ, do you have anything else to say about The Last of Us, Episode 2?
Bring on Episode 3.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Guys, let us know, what did you think of The Last of Us Episode 2 in the comments down below. If you're just joining us for this Last of Us review video, make sure to go ahead and subscribe, like, comment while you're down there doing all those fun things, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And we will catch you guys in the next video.